Neuchâtel Memorandum on Good Practices for Juvenile Justice in a Counterterrorism Context. Radicalization to violence and the recruitment of adults to terrorism are not new phenomena. Increasingly, however, children are also being radicalized and recruited by terrorist organizations. As a result, children have become affected by terrorism not only as victims and witnesses, but also as offenders. Some children are abducted or forcibly recruited, while others join voluntarily. In other cases, they have no other choice but to accompany their parents or other family members when they join a terrorist organization. In order to help states develop an appropriate response to this phenomenon, the Global Counterterrorism Forum, GCTF, has developed the Neuchâtel Memorandum on Good Practices for Juvenile Justice in a Counterterrorism Context. In all actions concerning children, the best interest of the child has to be the primary consideration. Can states prevent the radicalization and recruitment of children? An important starting point is to understand the conditions that contribute to the radicalization and recruitment of children. Discrimination, lack of access to education, or separation from their families during conflict can make children more vulnerable to radicalization and recruitment. Addressing these issues should be the core aim of any terrorism prevention strategy, which should also avoid stigmatization of any kind. States should criminalize the recruitment and use of children by non-state armed groups. The next key step is early identification of radicalization to violence. Some children are radicalized quickly, in a matter of weeks. Others are radicalized over a number of months or even years. In respect of recruitment to terrorism activities, lessons can be learned from dealing with other crimes, such as gang-related violence and sexual abuse, especially with regards to online exploitation. Indeed, states should keep in mind that social media is a catalyst for radicalization or recruitment, also in the context of terrorism. What should states do if children are radicalized and recruited by a terrorist organization? If children become associated with terrorist groups, they should be afforded all the applicable international and national legal protections and be treated primarily as victims. To start with, states should ensure the existence of a specialized juvenile justice system for children investigated and/or charged with terrorism-related offenses. Such system is key to preserving public safety while upholding the rights of the children. Actors of the juvenile justice system should not only aim to hold children accountable for their acts, but primarily pursue the objective of their rehabilitation and reintegration into society. The juvenile system should be able to adapt to the particular situation and needs of the child. It should include appropriate child-specific procedures, sentences, and, as a last resort, detention regimes. For example, every child in pre-trial detention or sentenced to prison for terrorism activities should be held separate from adults and in specialized juvenile detention facilities. In addition, specialized training should be available for all actors involved in these cases, such as law enforcement, prosecutors, judges, and others handling children's cases. How can states facilitate the reintegration of affected children? States should consider alternatives to detention. A child subjected to detention is likely to suffer immediate stigmatization, disruption of social development, and further severance from their community, thus jeopardizing effective reintegration and rehabilitation. When developing tailored rehabilitation and reintegration programs for children, states should ensure that these programs take into account the individual characteristics of the child, including gender and cultural and religious backgrounds. Sentencing and any other measures of the juvenile justice system should be community-based. Rehabilitation and reintegration programs should similarly take a multi-sector approach, involving actors such as social workers, community leaders, and school teachers. Finally, all juvenile justice-related programs should be monitored to assess their efficiency and effectiveness in relation to the best interest of the child and the community. If you wish to learn more, please visit the GCTF website, www.thegctf.org, where you can find the full text of the Neuchâtel Memorandum on Good Practices for Juvenile Justice in a Counterterrorism Context.